Hey, welcome back to Jetlag, the podcast all about TCKs and what it's like to grow up overseas. I'm your host, Noah, and today I'm joined by guests Isabella and Rachel. We are going to be talking about the country of Georgia today. So, Isabella, do you want to start off with your introduction?
Yeah, of course. My name is Isabella. I'm 14 years old, and I've lived in Georgia for 5 years of my life, since I was 9.
Hey, I'm Rachel. I am 17, and I've lived in Tbilisi, Georgia for 9 years.
Awesome. Okay, so start off, can you tell us where Georgia is located?
Georgia is located in Eurasia, which is like the middle version of between Europe and Asia. It borders the Black Sea, and it's right between Turkey and Russia.
Awesome. So, Rachel, you go to a local Georgian school. Anything you would want to share about that?
Starting off with the grading system, it's different than America. So I know in America, in the States, they do like A and like letters. In Kyrgyzstan, they did like 1 to 5, but in Georgia, they do 1 to 10 for the grading
Interesting.
system. But it also wasn't, especially the school that I went to wasn't really like the best. Like, so like the kids that lacked the push to understand the topic were like too ignored by the teachers, as the smarter kids that like sucked up to the teachers a lot got more grace and attention than the kids that were struggling and being ignored and not properly taught. And so when I first moved here, also the teacher spoke to me in Russian since I didn't know Georgian yet. And for a couple weeks, she gave me free lessons after school.
Oh, that's sweet.
I still remember like she'd like eat rice cakes and like coffee and gossip with the teachers half the time. So yeah, and I hated that since I just wanted to go home.
Oh.
Anyways, the Georgian curriculum also goes pretty quickly. And actually they used to have 11 grades when we first moved here, but it just changed to 12. Even though in the 12th grade they didn't really do much here. They like kind of give out free grades, but also the schools look like bomb shelters. Other than that though, like it's just it's normal school.
Yeah.
It's like others.
So what are some pretty common misconceptions about Georgia?
One misconception I see a lot, especially from like people that just look online to see, oh, Georgia, what are the people like? One thing I see a lot is they'll say that everyone is like overly hospitable, which is a lot of people are, and it's not that they aren't. They group them into kind of like a whole being. And one thing I see, like they'll go just walk around Tbilisi thinking like everyone is the same when they're not. And it really depends on what part of Georgia you're in, because if like the cities and the villages are very different with like the type of people and the culture and the way they've grown up and like their upbringing, like the people in the villages will most likely be more hospitable or have a lot of different qualities than the Georgians that live in the city.
So this is kind of like a pretty broad question, but what is the culture like in Georgia?
The culture for Georgia, it's very broad. I mean, there are different things that make up a culture, but one thing I personally appreciate about the culture is the dance. I love Georgian dance. It's very pretty. I learned some of it, not that well, but I saw it, and it's just really beautiful to watch. I mean, you can make it up with like, I mean, really every dance is like, it's a story, it's about something, it's love, friendship, loyalty. Really, it can just be deciphered in a lot of ways, and I think that's really beautiful because the culture can really just like dig deep down, like back a lot of years. I don't know how many years, but a lot of years. And it's just really amazing to see like how much it's grown and like all the different types that it has.
Yeah, you mentioned before how a lot of people just will assume that all Georgians are hospitable. So are they, or is it just that misconception?
A lot of Georgians are hospitable, but just thinking that they're all hospitable, like all in the same, like they're all going to have the same standards, like they'll all have the same answer.
Yeah, okay. Rachel, anything you would like to add about the culture?
It is really like a jolly culture. Weird word to use, but like, yeah, it's like every time I talk to like one of the old Georgians, they're just always like grabbing your cheeks, like, oh, you're cute, or like, like they're just always smiling, and like they know how to party.
Yeah.
Like, they always have songs like ready because everyone knows how to sing
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
I've also heard it's kind of a huge drinking culture too, right?
Yeah, wine's very one of Georgia's. They're really proud of their wine.
Awesome.
Sure.
So what is the language like?
The language is a very fluid, beautiful language. I mean, it obviously depends on who's talking to you. If it's an old lady yelling at you in front of the store, or if it's like this small little child that just came from school. It really depends on who's speaking it. But like an average speaker, it really is a beautiful language. And like the way it is set up, it's a very phonetic language, which makes it easy for a lot of people to learn. I mean, me personally, I haven't learned it that well, but I know enough that I can read it, and it's very like pleasing to look at. Like the letters are really pretty.
Rachel, you are fluent in Georgian, so how is it like for you?
I still can't get the grammar down because Georgians are very picky about their grammar. Other than that, I think it's also a really beautiful language.
Like I said, it's a very phonetic language. Like we won't have like a, which means ah. You'll have ah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just ah.
Yeah, for when you write Georgian, there's no like spelling. Like it's not like English where like you have an e at the end of it, but it's silent. It's any like how you pronounce the word is how they spell it exactly.
That makes spelling a lot more easier, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And is it similar to any other language that, like Armenian or Azerbaijan? Do you know?
Actually, there are quite a few words from different languages, like Greek, for example, paraskeri, shabati. It's like really, it takes a lot of words. It borrows a lot of words from many other countries. So that's one thing.
That's cool. So what's the food like?
The food, it's very good. It's a bunch of carbs, a lot of carbs.
Greasy.
If you're on a carb diet here, it's like impossible to live. But like you can find a bunch of stuff. One thing I like it's like almost a candy, like a snack that you can bring to school or to the park. It's called churchkela. It's very good. It's walnuts that they use in needle and thread. They thread the walnuts, which it's like it hurts if you don't get it through the walnut and it goes through your thumb. It hurts a lot, but if you do it right, like the old grandmas, and it works very well. And you dip them in like a really thick like grape juice with a bunch of sugar added. Boom, let them dry in the sun, and it's like an instant snack.
Yeah. Rachel, do you have any things you would like to add about the Georgian food?
Yeah, a lot of carbs. They love to put oil in everything, but I feel like that's what makes the food really good too. I like ojahuri. It has like potatoes and meat and onions, and it's just really good. Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite dishes too.
It's like all fried together and put into like a clay pot, and they sell it with like a bunch of oil on top of it, and then they make it like sizzle. Very good.
Yeah.
Then they'll put like cilantro. I don't like cilantro, but they'll put like cilantro on top to make it look pretty, you know?
I mean, it kind of tastes good too. I mean, some people might disagree, like Isabella, but
Yeah, like they still like they can make salads and like okay, this is like healthy, but they have like a cup of oil in one bowl of salad.
Yeah.
But it's still really good. Like I love Georgian food.
that's
One
awesome.
kind of salad that they have is they just like throw up cut cucumbers and cut tomatoes, and they just say, "Oh, this is salad." They'll put the cilantro. One thing I like, they have like a walnut paste that you can put on top,
that stuff is so good.
and it makes it taste like so good. It adds like a whole other flavor to it.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
one of my favorite things. I don't like when they put onions in it. I do not like raw onions.
I like raw onions personally.
Mm.
When you first moved to Georgia, what was your reaction? Any stories about culture shock that you would like to share?
Oh, I didn't want to move to Georgia. So out of all my family members, I was like the only one that really didn't want to come. And I only started to actually love being here in like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's around the same for me. I've been here 5 years, but I only really enjoyed being here maybe 1.5 years ago. because I really hated it when I moved here. I did not want to be here at all. I hated the people, the place, the transport, everything. I was really pessimistic. I did not want to be here. I just wanted to go back home to America, and that's how I felt for 3 out of my 5 years.
So what changed about that?
Who I was surrounded with, my group of friends, because in those first 3 years, I had Rachel, but I didn't really have anyone else, and like I had rocky friendships, and it was just like oof. But like then I got in like a steady friend group, and that really changed a lot, like how I spent my summer, how I spent my school years, and like how I thought about things, and who I was surrounded with really made like a difference. And when I first moved here, I came with my brother, and after he left when he turned 18, that also really like changed things, because I have 6 siblings, and he was like the only one I had left, and then he left.
Yeah.
And so I've been an only child for like 4 years, which was not what I was used to.
So I was born in Kyrgyzstan, which is like in East Asia. So when I moved to Georgia, I didn't really get much culture shock.
Oh, okay, cool. When you were in America, what is something you really miss about Georgia?
When I was in America, one thing is that in America, a ton of the food, not every food, they'll have farms there, but a ton of the foods are imported, and that makes some of them like not taste as well. Like peppers, like the bell peppers that they have there, they taste just like water. It's not good. And like the pomegranates that they have there, they're like pure sour. Like the first time I had one, I had my grandfather, he bought me one. And he was like, "Oh, this is a pomegranate." I hated them. I hated it. And I didn't want to try pomegranates when I got here, because I was like, "Oh, those suck." But it was just that pomegranate, it sucked because it was imported.
How about for you, Rachel?
I really miss the people, just because like I feel like I get more culture shock when I get to go to America. Yeah, just like Americans can be like super hospitable, but like it's just different. Like when you're in Georgia, like you can't just stop by their house without like staying for 3 hours or more. I do miss the food too, because I mean, I do love microwave meals and stuff, and like even like mac and cheese and stuff, but I really do miss like Georgian food, and like, you know, like the food that's imported to the States is not my favorite, especially when you grow up in Georgia and you're just like, "Oh, this isn't, yeah, like you said, this isn't a pepper, this is like, like water." So yeah.
Oh, one thing also is the price of things, because a dollar, like one full US dollar is like 2.6 lari here.
Yeah.
So like when I walked into a Walmart, everything was so expensive. Like I had $10. I thought I was gonna buy like 5 bags of chips with that. But like no, I could buy like maybe like 2 bags of Swedish fish. Like it was just crazy. And like I don't know. That's what I like living by here, because everything is so much cheaper, and like you can get your money's worth here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So on a flip-flop question, when you were in Georgia, what is one thing or a couple things that you miss about America?
The processed foods.
Yeah.
The MSG. I need that. You know?
Yeah, because here they don't use processed food, right? Or it's banned.
You'll have processed foods, but like it's not as common.
Oh, okay. Which is, I feel like it's good overall, but sometimes you kind of want that, you know.
I miss like the Kraft mac and cheese. It's just like heaven. Every bite is so good.
One thing I also miss is like shops that you can buy in bulk, like a Costco or a Sam's Club. I miss those because I used to just love wandering around there, especially if they had like those machines that you would scan your card and then they like give you a small pack of gummy bears, you know? It's just something so simple to miss, but I miss it because I get excited every time I go to Sam's Club.
I miss the massage chairs in the malls. I know it's really weird, but they're so like, I don't know.
Yeah,
so
no,
relaxing.
I get that. I've only been on one once, and that was in Thailand, but those are nice.
Yeah, I used to just go to a mall and you'll see them, and then you'll see like an old guy just slip $1 in there and just stay there for a minute. It's like heaven.
Yeah. What is something about Georgia that someone wouldn't know from a tourist video or from what people say online?
There are different types of Georgians, if that sounds weird. Like, for example, if you go to a different part of Georgia, it's like, maybe aprezeti or acheti. They speak Migralian in different places, which is similar to Georgian, but it's not Georgian. But they're still considered Georgian. So it's something like people think of like on videos, it's mostly like Tbilisi because it's the heart of Georgia.
Yeah.
But when you really visit Georgia and you go to other places like the beach or something, it's really different. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you would like to share about Georgia with our listeners?
We have the world's largest Wendy's. I just want to say that. It's 3 floors.
With an arcade.
With an arcade at the top with a little basketball court. If you go to all the touristy places and you see a guy with a parrot or a monkey that is putting them on shoulders, they'll make you pay a huge, ridiculous price that is not
reasonable.
That is not reasonable at all, and it's not good. They'll make you pay 50 lari for a picture, and it's just crazy, insane. And that's the worst scam ever. So don't fall into that tourist trap.
The mother of Georgia is big statue of this lady, and in one of her hands she holds a cup of wine, for hospitality, kind of and in her other hand she holds a dagger, a sword for enemies, kind of protecting Georgia.
It's kind of like the Statue of Liberty for Georgia.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of showing the diversity between the whole country. We'll show you hospitality, but also we mean business.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's this one dude who every time I've gone up to see the mother of Georgia, he'll assume where you're from and then start playing the national anthem of that country. And he was there 2.5 years ago when I visited, and then he's been up there ever since. And if you ever go to Georgia and you ever go to the mother of Georgia and take the little tram thing up there, hopefully you will see a guy with an accordion that will play you your national anthem.
Mm-hmm. And going up to the mother of Georgia, it's very beautiful. And you can see the whole city from it. You can see the big cathedral, and it's just an amazing view.
Yeah.
The mountains here are so beautiful. You have to visit the mountains. That's a destination.
And they're really good for skiing when in winter.
Oh, for sure.
Also, there's on New Year's, I don't think you could ever go to another place that has so many fireworks, and it is so incredible. It is so much better than watching a ball drop in New York City. The whole city just lights up, and if you get on a view from the mountains or an apartment building, it is absolutely awesome. So come down here for New Year's or whatever, and you will have an amazing experience.
Yeah, the ball drop is very boring compared to New Year's here. If you're up on a roof, I was up on a 14-story apartment for 2 years for the New Year's, and it's just crazy. You're surrounded by fireworks, and they're not afraid to make it sound like a war is happening, and so you'll just see a bunch of fireworks exploding, and it's just very beautiful. I mean, they're loud, but they're beautiful.
Yeah.
The fireworks, they go on the windows. It's crazy.
Even if it's not New Year's, you'll probably hear fireworks every other night. It's a normal occurrence. So when we first came to Georgia, we heard fireworks oh, is it a national holiday or something? But it's not. They just do it for fun. It'll be somebody's birthday, and they'll say, oh, okay, let's go set the fireworks off. It's just a normal thing. And I think that's awesome because I like fireworks.
Yeah.
But if you want to see snow, it's best to leave the city because it doesn't really snow.
It gets slushy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The city gets really cold, and it gets slushy, and you'll get a bunch of rain. But if you go up to the mountains near Cajeti, you'll see a bunch of snow, and the mountains are really beautiful. And you can go sledding, skiing, snowboarding, whatever you want to do, or just enjoy the snow in a cabin because it really is just beautiful to see.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and make sure that when you talk about Georgia, it's not the state, it's the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are not.
It's not the peach state.
We don't have peaches over here.
Sadly.
ما طلبت jet lagged is ამ ეპიზოდის მოსმენისათვის. თუ გაქვთ რაიმე შეკითხვა ან შემოთავაზება მომავალი ეპიზოდებისთვის, რომელსაც გსურთ გამოგვიგზავნოთ, ისევ jetlaggedpodcats@gmail.com. კიდევ ისევ jetlaggedpodcats@gmail.com 2 თუთი. კიდევ ერთხელ გმადლობთ მოსმენისათვის. იმედია შემდეგ ჯერზე შევხვდებით.
Awesome.
Bro, Georgian sounds so good. Okay, I'll do the English outro. Thanks for listening to this episode of Jetlag. We really appreciate y'all listening. If you would like to ask us any questions or have any suggestions for an episode, you can email us at jetlaggedpodcats@gmail.com. That is, again, jetlaggedpodcats@gmail.com, like your house cat that you have inside. Anyway.
It's sad.
Anyways, thanks again for listening, and we hope to see you next time.